as we journey from chapter 1 through chapter 5, we move from leadership, self-leadership, to attention, to relaxation, to awareness, and then to mindfulness. And so let's take a few moments and reflect on why it is that there is the chapter on relaxation in a book on mindfulness, when being mindful is to be present for your experience, whatever your experience is, which sometimes is not going to be relaxing. Now, of course, there's a lot to be said about the role of being in a more relaxed and steady state to practice mindfulness and or to be more mindfully aware. So calm and relaxation and stress reduction are certainly very important to that project, though not necessarily necessary for that project. And indeed, the practicing of mindfulness and being more mindfully aware can in turn lead us to being more relaxed and steady. Chapter 3 in particular shares a set of relaxation exercises that utilize the breath, and that's on purpose. There's a lot of different relaxation practices out there. Why did I zero in on the manipulation of the breath? And I offered 3 basic practices, which I call line breathing, triangle breathing, and box breathing, and they go by those names and other names. Because in those practices we are manipulating the breath, like breathing in a little more slowly, exhaling a little more slowly and fully to achieve a different state, a more relaxed state, as an example. When we do a mindfulness practice, say mindfulness of the breath, we are aware of the in-breath and we're aware of the out-breath, but we're not necessarily manipulating the breath, slowing it down or speeding it up, nor are we doing it that is attending to the breath, to achieve a different state. Of course, if we're a little bit more steadier and focused with our attention, our state is likely to change. But if we want it to change, well, now we're adding something to the practice, right? And if we're being mindfully aware in that moment, we would be mindfully aware of the breath, and we'd be mindfully aware of the thought or the feeling associated with I want to feel more relaxed. And then we would, with that noticing, bring our attention back to and notice the sensations of the breath. Okay, so we can do relaxation practices like slowing down the breath to achieve a different state, a more relaxed, calm state. And we can do mindfulness practices where if we're really clear about it, we're being present for our experience, whatever that may be, and there's different instructions that we can follow or guidance for that purpose, but it doesn't involve necessarily slowing down the breath, and it doesn't necessarily need to lead to feeling more relaxed for it to be a robust, meaningful mindfulness practice. Of course, if you do the relaxation practice and you take several slower, deeper breaths or whatever you may do, and you don't feel more relaxed, that could give you cause to say, maybe this isn't a relaxation practice for me, or maybe this doesn't work for me, or maybe I can learn more about how to do it and maybe I'm not doing it quite right, because it's intended to get us a little bit more relaxed. Whereas if you do a mindfulness practice and at the end of it you're like, I'm feeling agitated and I'm aware I'm agitated. Right, well, that's what it's all about. Of course, we would like to feel more relaxed, but let's be aware and be somewhat okay with the experience that we're having. And it's nice to have relaxation practices so that we can, as settling techniques, as discussed in the book, bring them in when we find it useful. Okay. Now, we can, though, bring the two together. It's like two circles, right? The relaxation practice, let's say slowing down the in-breath and the out-breath, line breathing, and awareness of the breath or paying attention to the breath. We could have it where those are two different kinds of exercises or practices, as I've just reviewed them, but we can bring them together so that we can, if we choose, take a slower, deeper breath and be aware of the cessations of the slower, deeper breath. Breathing in, aware of breathing in. And exhaling a little more slowly, a little more deeply, aware of the sensations of exhaling. Is that a relaxation practice or is that a mindfulness practice? Well, here we can see how they can come together. The slowing down of the breath was intending to bring about a more relaxed, calm state. And I feel a little bit calmer and more relaxed. The awareness piece was to be aware of my experience of taking the slower, deeper breath, among other things that I could be aware of or inclining the mind toward. So I share this with you because it's important, especially as we work through the first 5 chapters of the book, to say, I see. The breath can play a role here for relaxation, and the breath, because it tends to be the object of attention in a mindfulness practice, can be the object of attention as an end unto itself. Of course, a mindfulness practice doesn't need to have the breath as an object of attention. It could be sounds or the sensations of your hands. But because the breath is so often an object of attention in a mindfulness practice, and it can be something that we use quite frequently and is shared as being a very effective relaxation practice, teasing them apart in the way that the book does and in the way that I just have shared with you, can be helpful, so that when we're doing something to relax, we're doing something to relax. And when we're doing something in the service of being more mindfully aware, we understand that it need not, even though it may involve the breath, lead to a more relaxed state, to be a very serious engagement in the practice of mindfulness and the cultivation of greater present moment, mindful awareness, and the benefits that will follow from that. I hope you found this helpful. Wishing you well.